You're watching E.T.N, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Share and subscribe.
Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. This is Rob, and in this video we're going to talk a little bit Walking Dead. We're going to do a little speculation on what we could expect next year from the group, how they're going to react towards people, in particular Rick. Now, one of the things that was brought up to me actually a little over a week ago, and because of the whole outburst with Godzilla last week, I was really unable to get to it. And I had already done a speculation video on Walking Dead last week. So a couple of people were asking me about apparently this eye patch scene or the end of episode 16 where they zoom in on Rick as he's talking to the group, and he tells the group, you know, they're going to realize they're messing with the wrong people, screwing with the wrong people. And if you pause it at a certain shot, you could see that the way the camera's angled and the way the lighting's set up, Rick seems to have an eye patch over his right eye, I believe it was. And I'm going to pull up the picture right here, and we'll take a look at that. And here's a shot right from the TV scene. And, you know, it's you look at it, and I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that they're doing that on purpose, but I'm not saying they're not. It does look like there should be a little bit more light there than there is, but that's up for debate. So even if they did do this on purpose and it turns out to be that they're trying to foreshadow something with Rick, I don't think he's going to be turning into the governor per se. I think what's going to happen is they went through a lot in season 4, you know, and I think the approach for the group next year is going to be more either hands-off or more aggressive with whoever they take in. In other words, what I'm trying to say is, season 4, they had the 3 questions, you know. How many walkers have you killed? How many people have you killed, and why? I don't think there's going to be 3 questions next year is what I'm saying. You know, let's assume they get out of this whole Terminus debacle by mid-season. Terminus is done. They really don't have any enemies or conflict. They're all together trying to make their way to a new shelter, or whatever the case may be. And along the way, they do find some survivors. What I'm saying is, I don't think they take them in. I don't think there's any option that. I think at this point, they're going to probably be a little bit more closed off towards other people. And really, who can blame them? You know what I mean? Who can blame them? So I wouldn't say that I don't necessarily not believe that that's foreshadowing something, but I just think it's going to foreshadow an aggressive group. I think you might see Rick do some questionable acts, but that wouldn't be the first time. So there's really no surprise there. Maybe we'll see it more often than we normally have in the past. But, you know, after everything this group has been through, especially Rick, you know, I mean, got his butt whooped by the governor. He's got to be feeling some guilt over Herschel's death because he could have probably just prevented it if he just decided to cut his losses and leave, and he never did. And that's even some part we haven't even touched upon yet. You know, will Maggie, after things are calmed down, they're out of Terminus, will Maggie look to Rick differently because she feels he's responsible? So I think you're going to see a little bit of Rick similar to the end of season, I want to say season 2, when he was like, this is when he basically said it's a dictatorship. He didn't say that, but that's what everybody defined it as at the time. But I think this time's going to be a little different. I think everybody's going to be on page with him about that. And I think he's going to have zero tolerance. Now, another picture I want to look at is obviously the season 5 poster. And, you know, it's interesting. If you look at the bottom here, where he's on, to me, well, I don't know if anybody's ever, I'm sure we've all gone to church at least once, right? It's like a stained glass window, except there's no color. But the design on the floor looks very much like the reflection that's coming through a stained glass window. And the only difference is the light would not normally come through a stained glass window like that unless the glass was clear and not colored. So I find that kind of interesting because a lot of people have been speculating that Father Gabriel was going to be in the show this year, and he wasn't. But some are still speculating he'll be there next year. So I'm, you know, unless either that or maybe they're looking at Rick as a sign of hope. You know, I don't know. I mean, obviously he's the group's leader, whether he wants to be or not. And maybe they look to him for some guidance in terms of how to get out of Terminus. What's the next move? You know, but it kind of makes you wonder, are they going to run into a church at some point? And are they going to meet this mysterious Father Gabriel? Is Father Gabriel going to have Beth when we meet him? So, because a lot of people are thinking that Beth could also be with Father Gabriel. A lot of people speculated that because the back of the car had the cross. I can understand that. That's definitely possible. It wouldn't surprise me if they went that route. I'm still going to lean towards that she's at Terminus because, you know, while they don't seem to be religious, we haven't really spent a lot of time with them. But one thing I did notice was when they were running through the mousetrap, if you want to call it, there was that one room that was like a large shrine. There were candles all over the place, names all over the floor. I'm assuming loved ones from the people, either loved ones or the people they've eaten in the past. I don't know. But there could be some sort of ritual. I don't want to say like a sacrifice, but I would think that maybe they are somewhat radicals. Religious radicals. Maybe they've developed their own religion in this world. I mean, who knows, you know? So I think it can go either way with Beth in that account. I think people have a good, solid speculation thinking that she could be with Father Gabriel, who's a character from the comics, either at a church or near a church or wherever the case may be. So I think that's a fair speculation. I think it's still fair to say that she could be at Terminus. So I say 50-50 on both. I don't think you could go wrong on any direction, you know, obviously depending on where she's going to be at. I'm still going to stay with Terminus now because I want to know how they would start the show off with everybody together on one side and then Beth on the other. It's not that they can't. I just don't think, and this is horrible to say, but because she just recently started getting a lot more time on the screen, especially with all the time she spent with Daryl, I just don't see her commanding a scene on her own or with a new character that's not developed and help lead the scene. I just don't see that. To me, she's not that great of an actress. She really isn't. Up until recently, I've always referred to her as the mascot because she'd sing and then she takes care of Judith and that's it. So, but interesting stuff. You know, I think the Rick with the eye patch thing is pretty good foreshadowing. They've done a lot of that this year. One of the things that they foreshadowed that kind of really spooked me out was the whole Maggie picture thing. If you've been following my videos, that's one thing I immediately mentioned during my episode 15 review, was that's the first thing I noticed was the picture coming out, the blood on the picture, and then her telling him he'll never need it again. That to me just spells doom at some point, maybe even next year. The painting that Michonne looked at where the picture looks exactly like Mary from Terminus, and I think this eye patch Rick is going to show us a more, not a Governor Rick per se, but I think you're going to see him maybe flirt with going down that path before he kind of stops himself, or you're just going to see a more aggressive Rick. That's basically what it comes down to. Rick, one that's more aggressive, low level of tolerance for bullshit, and he's going to be ruthless when he has to be, and he'll fall back when he needs to. It'll be interesting to see nonetheless. I'm looking forward to Season 5, especially also the spinoff. From what I understand, they're supposed to start filming in May, so that's a couple of weeks away. They'll start filming, and I'm sure once they start filming, we're going to hear a lot of things. We'll get a lot of news, new cast members, whatever the case may be. Should be a lot of fun, so you can definitely stick around here on E.T.N for that. We'll keep you guys posted, or you guys can share with us. That's what we do here. It's a lot of good stuff. But that's it for this video, guys. Let me know what you think. You think Rick is going to borderline go governor before he kind of just settles down? What do you think about Beth? Do you think she's going to be at Terminus? Do you think she's going to be at a church? Do you think she's somewhere else? Interesting stuff nonetheless, guys. This is Rob signing off for E.T.N, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Take it easy.
Thank you for watching E.T.N. Don't forget to subscribe and join the Nation Facebook page.